Back in 2004, a young man left home and journeyed 600 kilometers to a new city, a place they called the City of Gold, a place of opportunity, and he was chasing just that. He started as a call center agent at America Online, but he didn't just clock in and out, he rose fast. Trained by BPO veterans from the US, he learned the science behind workforce management. But one thing stood out. While the numbers were teachable, building a career in WFM, well, that part wasn't in any of the training manuals. Now, nearly 2 decades later, that same man is here to share the roadmap he. Well, workforce management sounds technical, and it is. But it's also human. Most of us who landed in WFM didn't even know what it was at first. We were contact center agents trying to make sense of things like schedule adherence and leave quotas, just following the plan, not building it. Then suddenly, one day we end up in WFM, and now we're the ones building those plans. No formal training, just a crash course from whoever came before us, which, let's be honest, isn't always the cleanest handover. But here's the truth. WFM concepts can be taught, but the real skill is being able to adapt, interpret, and execute those concepts in ever-changing environments. That's where the magic is. And yes, some level of maths and analytics is required, but it's not about being a human calculator. It's about understanding how the business behaves, how people behave, and how to make all those moving parts work together. Let's understand the unseen purpose of WFM. WFM exists to create order from chaos. Think of it as designing mini roadmaps inside of the customer journey. Not the whole trip, but just the handoffs. From queue to agent, from wait time to resolution. So let's picture an airport. You check your luggage in, which goes through a maze of conveyor belts and carts before it gets to the plane, while you're going through your own maze of hallways before boarding. While you have full sight of that boarding line, think of your luggage. You don't have sight of it, but you're crossing your fingers, hoping that it gets on that plane. In the same way, a contact center is like that maze that your luggage travels through, which is the customer's call. And the customer doesn't see that journey, but the customer is there in that queue, crossing fingers that their call is routed correctly. And that's the purpose of WFM. It's the unseen architect of that experience. We design those handoffs to get that call through each step to its destination. And we do that every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes, every day, over and over. And that rhythm, that's the heartbeat of the contact center. Now let's talk about the qualities you'll need. If you want to work in WFM, then here's a checklist you probably didn't see in that job ad. Having an analytical mindset. Being able to solve problems with facts, even when they are wrapped in assumptions. Having business thinking skills. Here, efficiency isn't a buzzword, it's now your job. Focusing on a customer first attitude. We gotta understand why people are contacting us. That's our compass. And building resilience. Yes, you will be wrong and you will have to fix it. And that is a cycle that will repeat. Building resilience is key. Now let's talk about the skills you didn't know you need. WFM attracts the analytically curious, but that's just not enough. The science is important, but what about the execution? That requires buy-in, and buy-in requires communication. You'll be talking to agents, team leaders, execs, all in the same day, and you can't use the same script for everyone. To a C-level exec, a schedule change is a cost-saving strategy. To an agent, it's flexibility and lower burnout. It's the same plan, but two very different stories. Modern WFM tools are powerful, but Excel is where you test your theories and you build those quick what-if scenarios. You also need the power of storytelling. You see, the best WFM pros are part planner, part project manager, and part storyteller. In this role, you'll explain forecasts, you will have to defend unpopular shift decisions, you'll have to guide people through what feels like chaos using clear, confident language. You will need to adapt your explanations, pitch solutions fast, and handle rejections like a pro. If you combine that with a bit of project management, suddenly you're not just creating schedules, you're now coordinating the entire orchestra. So now let's just say you landed the WFM role. What are your options? Okay, you understand the why of WFM and the skills that power it. So let's talk about where you actually start. WFM teams usually revolve around three core functions. These are real-time, planning and scheduling, and analysis. Your journey might begin in one of these, but each of them plays a unique role in shaping how your career path progresses. Let's start with real-time administrators. The RTA function is the frontline defender of your plan. It is a high-speed, high-touch role. You're monitoring live operations, making on-the-fly adjustments, and talking to everyone, from agents to ops managers. This role teaches urgency, visibility, and responsiveness. And more than anything, it gives you exposure. You'll quickly learn what works and what doesn't because the results are instant. Real-time communication is now the bridge between WFM and operations, and that's why it's one of the best ways to start your WFM career. Moving into planning and scheduling, after you've mastered the chaos of real-time, you're not going to be reacting anymore. You're now going to be predicting. And with predictions, the risks are much higher. A poor plan leads to poor execution no matter how good the real-time team is. This is a complete mindset shift, often going from extrovert RTA mode to introvert thinker zone. You're now going to own the predictions, the assumptions, and the contingencies. You'll work closely with data, forecasting models, and yes, even Excel spreadsheets. You'll build relationships with the RTA team so your vision on paper becomes real in production. This role relies on pattern recognition, scenario testing, and strategic thinking. Remember, you're not just building shifts. In this role, you are now shaping the outcomes. What about WFM analysts? Okay, now let's zoom out even further. The analyst role is about asking why and what if. You're going to dig into macro trends, test new ideas, and translate data into meaningful business decisions. It's no longer just about the call center, it's about the broader ecosystem of the business. Here you'll analyze how legislation, economic changes, and customer behavior influence contact volume and staffing needs. You'll present insights, recommend strategies, and shape the long-term WFM evolution. The analyst is part mathematician, part storyteller, and part fortune teller. But it doesn't stop there. So what comes after WFM? Well, it's a good question because WFM doesn't just end, it actually branches out. Maybe you lean into project management or training, account management, data science. Whatever it is, the skills you gain here, skills like communication, adaptability, planning, resilience, they all travel well and can carry with you in almost any part of the business. Because if you haven't seen it yet, these skills I'm talking about are more of characteristics. Doing the functions of other jobs are teachable. Building resilience, well, that's earned. And here's the kicker. Once you've learned to build strategy and execute it under pressure, people take notice, and that's when doors open. So to grow with purpose, you must learn your business. You've got to move beyond spreadsheets. You need to understand your business. Why do customers reach out? How does the service or product that the company offers its customers work? What are the emotional drivers that influence the call volumes? You're going to have to sit with agents, listen to calls, connect with sales teams, marketing teams, and product teams to understand the business better, to understand the product better. Remember, WFM isn't just a bubble. It's a mirror reflecting the business. Learn the reflection and you'll know how to lead. But while you're learning the business, create a strategy and build your brand. So if you want to stand out, then don't just do your job. Define your signature. Let's start with the vision. What do you want to be known for? Is it accuracy, innovation, communication? Well, align your work to that vision. Promote it through action and reinforce it by mentoring others. Personal branding isn't about showing off, it's about showing up consistently, intentionally. Now let's do something that nobody likes to do. Let's get comfortable with being uncomfortable because growth never feels easy. If it does, you're doing it wrong. Take on projects that will stretch you. Ask for feedback that's going to sting. Try tools and systems that intimidate you. This isn't about failing, it's about flexing muscles you didn't know you had. Your comfort zone won't get you promoted. However, discomfort definitely will. Now, if you've gotten this far, then you're ready for the next level. Because once you've built a name and you've delivered results and leaned into that growth that we spoke about, it's time to aim higher. Let's systematize your job so that others can take it over. Build a resume or portfolio that reflects real impact. Mentor others, and most importantly, know what you want next and ask for it. Don't be afraid. Leadership doesn't wait for a title. You're already showing it. Now just claim the next step. Looking at the full picture of building a WFM career. It is science, it is art, it's logic, creativity, resilience. All of these combined has to come from somewhere. It comes from within you. You've just walked through the journey of starting, growing, and leading in WFM. This isn't just theory, this is experience. Until next time, let's keep learning, let's keep growing, and never stop building your career on your own terms.